you ever wondered why certain areas seem to attract more mysteries than others? Welcome back to Beyond the Hub podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Brandon. Today, we're going to be diving into one of the most baffling regions in the world, the Alaska Triangle. From its remote wilderness to the eerie disappearances and UFO sightings, there's absolutely a lot to uncover.
Join us for the second episode of our three-part series on paranormal triangles. This Alaskan adventure will give you chills in more ways than one.
Brr.
The Alaska Triangle. This vast region stretches from Anchorage to Juneau to Barrow, covering over 200,000 square miles of rugged wilderness. It's known for its breathtaking landscapes, but also for the numerous disappearances and strange phenomena reported there. I mean, Brandon, what do you think makes this area so fascinating?
The Alaska Triangle is a place of extremes. Its remote wilderness and harsh conditions mean that if something goes wrong, it can be incredibly difficult to get help. Historically, this area has been home to indigenous peoples with many legends and lore, which I believe adds another layer of mystery to all of this. The Tlingit, Haida, and other tribes have lived here for centuries, and their stories often reflect the mysterious and sometimes dangerous nature of the land.
Absolutely. This history of this region is as rugged as its terrain. One of the earliest recorded disappearances in the Alaskan Triangle happened in 1950, when a C-54 Skymaster military aircraft vanished with 44 people on board. Despite an extensive search, no wreckage was ever found, setting the stage for more disappearances to follow. While the area's harsh environment and natural hazards like avalanches, crevasses, and wild animals often offer some explanation, there's just an undeniable sense that this time, history and mystery collide.
What do you guys think? Is the Alaska Triangle just an area with tough terrain and harsh weather, or is there something more sinister or mysterious going on?
More.
Share your thoughts in the comments with us below.
More going on.
Definitely more. I think so.
I think there's that part where we said about the ruggedness of it. There areas it's so far away for people to ask for help or to get help. I think other things would take advantage of that fact.
That's true.
And they would know that
the remoteness of this area specifically is like an allure for the weird, crazy things to happen, because they ain't ever gonna find out. We're so far out from civilization, like nobody's gonna come out to the forest and find these disappearing people. They just presume dead, and nobody's gonna look for them. But like, what I also find interesting is, these vessels and aircrafts from these triangle disappearances are carrying upwards of 40 people to up to 300 people from the stories that we've researched. What if someone presumed to be dead on these mysteriously disappearing vessels and aircraft were to show up at their home, knock on the door, and be like, "Hey, look, I'm home"? Like, do you think that would add to the believability of the fact that they're portals instead of wreckages where everybody just died?
Say it's been 20 years.
20 years. You haven't aged a bit. Portal time slip mix?
Could be.
That's crazy.
I want to dive into one of these mysterious disappearances. It's actually one of the most famous cases, and that is of Hale Boggs, a prominent politician whose plane disappeared in 1972. Boggs was the House Majority Leader and a member of the Warren Commission, which investigated the assassination of President Kennedy. His disappearance during a flight from Anchorage to Juneau led to one of the largest search operations in U.S. history, involving 40 military aircraft, 50 civilian planes, which covered 325,000 square miles. And despite these efforts, neither the plane nor its passengers were ever found. Brandon, what other cases stand out to you, and what are your comments on this?
Okay, first of all, the fact that the search operations covered 325,000 square miles. That's larger than the Alaska Triangle, which was 200,000 square miles, right? So they almost doubled the search area and couldn't find anything.
But how well can you actually, you can cover that, but if I go over this room, I'm going to miss something.
Sure. I'm just pointing out to the interesting fact of how thorough this search operation was. And I also find it quite interesting that, the JFK assassination is highly debated on whether the perpetrator of the assassination was, bad actors within our own government, or if it was, truly who the media has told us it is. And the fact that conspiracy theory of, the JFK assassination conspiracy theory, being so highly debated, I think it's interesting that the person who was responsible for leading the investigation into determining the truth about the assassination disappeared as well.
I have something to add. Do you think that this might not even be related to the triangle and mysterious thing, or do they knowingly put this guy in that area to an area where something they knew was going on there happened? They deliberately put them through a portal or something, or put them through one of these things to intentionally happen to them?
Because at the very least, they could just write it off as, that's just a mysterious, unexplained triangle area, so we don't know what happened to the guy. They have a, what's it called? An alibi.
Mm-hmm.
They have an alibi to try to convince the general public of what really happened to this person, because we don't really know. So I think that I'm leaning more towards that, because I just have a general mistrust of, government, big government as a whole. And I think it's probably likely that they have some sort of knowledge or involvement about the truth behind these triangle areas. That's my personal theory. Maybe they're doing some sort of experiments there with technology not yet released to the public, which is responsible for these. Maybe that's more, evidence behind or not necessarily evidence. Maybe that would point more towards a, like a more scientifically explainable reason as to why these mysterious occurrences happen in these areas. Maybe it is
intentional
and testing technology. Maybe they're experimenting with technology we don't know yet. Maybe it has nothing to do with it. I mean, I'm not saying that's definitely the case,
but it happened.
But
something happened.
This guy disappeared. That's what definitely is the case. Is this guy disappeared, and many other things, people have disappeared in these areas. And that's just weird to me. We got another example lined up for you guys. There's a disappearance of the C-54 Skymaster in 1950. It's a military aircraft that vanished with 44 people on board. Was that last number 44 as well? Or was it just 40? I think that would be interesting. No, it was just 40.
Yeah.
Still, that would be interesting if they were both 44. Maybe they're the entities behind these things are looking for vessels with 44 or 300 people on them.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, this military aircraft had vanished with 44 people on board while flying from Anchorage to Great Falls, Montana. And the interesting thing is that no trace of the plane or its passengers have ever been discovered, despite an intensive search operation. Yet another case that stands out is the 2007 disappearance of Alaska State Trooper Jerry Cross and her husband. They were flying in a small private plane when they vanished without a distress call. Extensive search efforts yielded no debris or evidence. And I think it's interesting that the fact that there's no distress calls You could chalk that up to we didn't receive the distress call and they sent one out, or
instantaneous.
they had no idea that they were going through something that was, that requires a distress call. Maybe they weren't in distress at all, and they instantaneously, as Nick said, disappeared. So there would be no point of a distress call because they didn't even realize that they're disappearing into another realm, maybe? Who knows?
Or maybe they did, it just didn't go through because they're not there.
Or maybe they did and it didn't go through. Maybe after they realized they sent a distress call and they're like, whoa, what's going on? Something weird's happening.
Wait a minute, we're on Mars. It doesn't even...
Yo, that would be crazy. Well, that's something we didn't even talk about with portals last week is like, what if these portals take you to other planets?
We just talked about different dimensions.
Yeah,
like
different dimensions
but
and
we're
planes
still
of
here.
existence.
But
What about you go through a portal? We talked about like going from Alaska to Hawaii through a wormhole portal type thing, but like you step through a portal and now you're on Mars and you're like,
or you're on another planet that could sustain life. You're on Earth 2.0 somewhere,
and then you see
there's
like
dinosaurs.
It's that's crazy to think about.
It's all opposite. It's all the cryptids we talk about are all just like living casually throughout. There's like skinwalkers just hanging out.
Yeah, and they're
drinking at the bar.
They're just chilling. Yeah, that'd be crazy. And then they see you and like, oh, what's going on, man? Like, what?
Or they're like, what was that? I thought I just saw a human. All right.
Legends of a mysterious, upright, walking humanoid figure. Oh man, it resembles something like one of us, but it's different. It has no hair on its body. That'd be crazy.
Okay, all right. But so all these disappearances, they contribute to the reputation of the Alaska Triangle as being very creepy. The lack of wreckage or evidence makes you wonder about the other possible explanations, scientific and paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you ever heard of any lesser-known Alaskan Triangle disappearances? We'd love to hear about them in the comments. Maybe there's a case we've missed.
Yeah, let us know, guys.
But let's move on to some more otherworldly phenomena associated with the Alaskan Triangle. Now, there have been numerous reports of UFO sightings and even alien abductions. Mm-hmm. One well-known example is the film The Fourth Kind. Have you ever heard of that? Which was based on alleged real life abductions in Nome, Alaska. And Nome, actually has a high rate of missing persons, and some believe that there could be a connection to extraterrestrial activity. The film definitely dramatizes the interviews with residents who claim to have been abducted by aliens. Brandon, what are your thoughts on this movie?
Movie is one of my favorites and least favorites. As I've grown in age, it has leaned more towards one of my favorites, especially with the work that we do, discussing these topics on the show. But when I first saw it, I think I was 17 or 18 years old. It terrified me. I was terrified, absolutely terrified. I was afraid. I mean, I'm pretty sure at the end of the movie, they, spoiler alert, if you guys haven't seen it, it's been a long time. I'm pretty sure this is from like 2010 or something. So, you've been warned. But don't the aliens abduct her kid through the house, through the roof? Mm-hmm. And she's like trying to keep her kid from being abducted. Like, that scared the shit out of me. Like, through physical objects, solid objects.
They say the movie is real in the beginning, but
yes,
but all the people that say it's false, what if they're just have to say it's false?
What if? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they know something. I just think that it's absolutely terrifying that the aliens, the extraterrestrial beings, whatever those entities are, can abduct you through your roof. And I was terrified to drive home from my girlfriend's house because they could abduct you through a roof of the house. They could abduct me through my car.
Maybe that's what that light is. It's a light that can go through objects, and once it wraps around you, it you're out of space and time. Like you're just your own thing. You can just go through anything.
That'd be crazy. I think it has a lot more to do with frequency, which
Frequencies?
Could be light. Could be
I
light.
think we talked about that before.
Yeah. I think it has more to do with frequency, like changing the frequency of your body. Not in a manner that disassembles your body, but just in a way that allows you to phase through physical solid objects. And maybe the frequency, because frequencies can be like lights, different colored lights have different frequencies. Sound has different sound has different frequencies, like, you know, high pitched sound, lower pitched sound, stuff like that. Like vibrations have frequencies. Sound is vibration traveling through air. So like I think a lot of it is frequency. But that's just my hypothesis that I can't ever really truly test unless I get abducted, and I really hope I don't. I don't consent.
I hope not either.
I do not consent to that. But other than my thoughts on the movie, I do think that it's interesting how many UFO sightings have been reported in this region. People have seen strange lights in the sky, mysterious crafts, and even encountered beings they believe to be extraterrestrial. The remoteness of the area makes it a perfect place for these kinds of sightings, like we were mentioning earlier. The stories from Nome in particular are just terrifying and quite compelling. It piques my curiosity.
So the idea of alien abductions in the Alaskan Triangle just adds like another layer to this mystery. And some believe that the region's isolation and harsh environment make it an ideal place for extraterrestrial activities, as we were discussing. And there's also some speculation about underwater alien bases here too, and the numerous lakes that they have. And these stories and reports from locals certainly make you think twice about venturing over there to that triangle.
Yeah, maybe 3 times, maybe 4.
Maybe?
Yeah, I've thought a lot of times. I'm not going to that. I'll go to a portal hunt, but I'm not going on a Bermuda Triangle hunt.
I'll go.
I know.
I'll let you know.
You just have balls of steel, my friend. All right, everybody. Do you believe in the UFO sightings and alien abductions reported in the Alaska Triangle? Let us know in the comments. And if you've heard any other stories related to the Alaska Triangle and aliens, let us know those as well.
I believe.
I believe. I believe.
Bleep, blop, bleep, blop. Oh no, we're getting abducted right now. All right, now let's talk about the indigenous legends and modern theories that attempt to explain the strange occurrences in the Alaskan Triangle. The indigenous Alaskan legends speak of spirits and supernatural beings that inhabited the land. One such legend is that of the Kushtaka, which is a shape-shifting creature said to lure people to their demise. The Kushtaka is believed to take on the form of a human or an otter, mimicking the voices of loved ones to lure their victims. Brandon, this sounds like a skinwalker.
Yeah, that's the first thing that skinwalker flags went off.
What other legends have you come across?
I just want to say,
yeah,
skinwalker and sirens in Greek mythology, they lure, people to their doom. They're not they're not like shapeshifters though, or anything like that. They're just sirens.
But how crazy that in all these different mythologies that they account for these same things but with different names.
Right. Well, very, very, very similar.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say. I think the only thing that makes the siren similar in this case, the only reason I brought it up is because of the luring people to their demise aspect. That's not necessarily. I wouldn't say that all these different cultures accounted for the same entity, and the skinwalker is the same as a siren, which is the same as the Kushtaka. Kushtaka. I wouldn't say all those are one and the same. I would say maybe the skinwalker and the Kushtaka are very related or similar. Strange that it's an otter. I've never heard of an otter in anything paranormal. An otter.
I've seen angry otters.
They're not that big.
No, but they look mean. So maybe they like how a ghost or like a demon will possess a child to make them let their guard down. Maybe they pick the otter for that same reason. oh, it's just a cute little otter.
And then
oh,
it just goes
hey
feral.
there. Yeah, and then you're done.
It just tears you up. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That's crazy. There's also the legend of the Kilut. It's a demon dog that prowls the wilderness, preying on those who venture too far from safety. The Kilut is described as a hairless dog with a fearsome appearance, said to be a bad omen, and I also find it particularly interesting that a hairless dog is roaming the Alaskan wilderness where it is fairly cold.
Is it?
But just fairly cold, not like, bone-chillingly cold, just fairly. It's freezing, okay? It's freezing.
Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog?
Got no hair, man. I don't know if it's a dog. That reminds me of like a mixed kind of a little bit of like a chupacabra, a hairless alien goat sucker looking dog looking thing. A little bit of like a rake, hairless, pale. It's more
wiener
humanoid.
dog.
We got hairless wiener dogs.
Hairless wiener dogs.
I've never seen a hairless wiener dog. That's gonna be weird looking. Hairless cats. I used to think look like aliens. Look like aliens. I still think they look a little weird. I used to be so like, ew, those are so gross. I don't even want to touch it. But I love cats so much now that I'm like, oh, look at that ugly little thing. I want to touch it. So I flip-flopped on that one.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say. These legends provide a cool glimpse into the cultural history of the region. So, like, modern theories, on the other hand, range from the scientific to the supernatural. And some believe that the Alaska Triangle might be a magnetic anomaly that disrupts navigational instruments, leading to the disorientation and crashes. And others suggest the possibility of time warps or interdimensional portals.
Yep, portals.
For instance, some researchers, they have proposed that the region's unique geological makeup could create electromagnetic disturbances capable of confusing both humans and their technology.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. The electromagnetic disturbances being influenced or somewhat created by humans, like that theory. I think that's interesting. Like when I mentioned, maybe there is, some sect of peoples or agencies, governmental or not, that are doing things over there, testing technology. Maybe that's influencing the interference with the electromagnetic disturbances for compasses and other technology. That's just an interesting thought. Just wanted to bring it up again because it's kind of coming full circle for me.
Everything's connected.
I think so. I know so.
What do you think about these indigenous legends and modern theories? Are they just stories, or could there be some truth to them? Share your thoughts and your comments below.
I think that the indigenous legends are accounting for phenomena and encounters that they've experienced there, but are not exclusive to that area. As we discussed, that there's other cultures around the world that explain similar phenomena in different ways. And the culture and their beliefs is kind of what like forms the foundation of what they're describing these things as. Also, with animals native to different areas of the world, different cultures have different exposure to different animals, and maybe they haven't seen, like, it's like I've never seen a Komodo dragon, right? That's not just an animal that occurs in the wild in central New York or downstate New York, where I've done most of my travels, nor in New Jersey or Pennsylvania or any of the other states I've been to. I've never seen one. So if I see one, maybe I'd be like, whoa, that's crazy. I've never seen anything like that. What is this? Is this an alien reptile? Something like that. But especially way back in the past with different cultures and newfound ways of explaining their existence differently. I think that leads to similar accounts all around the world, but potentially being the same being or not, maybe. Yeah, just wanted to kind of try to connect those dots a little bit for you guys.
I like it. But that's a wrap on this deep dive into the Alaskan Triangle. It always feels like we've just scratched the surface of yet another mystery.
Scratch the surface of my bald head. Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. But guess what? Tomorrow we're uncovering the secrets of the Dragon's Triangle, UFO sightings, sea monsters, and more. It's going to be a really cool one.
And it's going to be another wild ride, so make sure you join us. Your theories and comments fuel our discussions, so if you would, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and click that little bell, and share your thoughts below.
And the exploration continues. We cannot wait to have you back for even more revelations. Make sure you don't miss out. Episode 3 airs tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that one's going to be a really interesting episode, so make sure you don't miss it. And if you're new here, check out our previous series where we attempt to unravel other mysteries. Link will be in the description. Make sure you stay curious, question everything, keep seeking the truth.
Until next time, this is Beyond the Hub podcast, where the realms of the paranormal and conspiracies collide, and the truth,
I'm not a reptilian,
is waiting to be unveiled. I don't trust you now. We'll see you soon.
I was joking. Take care, everyone.